morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Miss you. And we are going to be doing a math lesson today, lesson 19.5. So please follow along with me. If you've got your textbook that you can go through the problems with me, that'd be great. If not, you can just watch this video and then do the workbook pages. So we are going to be doing, starting on page 375 over to 380. So we're going to learn about perimeter. So we already talked about perimeter being all of the outside of a shape. You add up the sides to see what the perimeter of a shape is, versus area is whatever's inside. And so you measure that with the square units inside of a shape, and you can multiply to find that. So we're just going to go into a little bit more detail with perimeter today. So it says, for our first problem, find the perimeter of certain figures. Each side of this square is 6 centimeters long. Find its perimeter. Now we know that a square has all equal sides. So if one side is 6 centimeters, all of the sides are 6 centimeters. So even though there's not a label for these two sides, they're also 6. You can add up 6 4 times, but since they're equal groups, we could also multiply. So 6 times 4 equals 24. We would get 24 centimeters whether we add it or multiply. So either one works. So we have a rectangle here, which will not have equal sides, and we're going to find its perimeter. Now, using a ruler, if you have one, you would be able to measure this measure this rectangle to see the length in centimeters of each side. Okay, so I'll go ahead and write it in. Hopefully you do have some way to measure though. The first side, the long side here, is 9 centimeters. Okay, next, the short side here is 3 centimeters. Okay, the other two are equal to the one that it's parallel with. So 9 plus 3 plus 9 plus 3. Okay, so 9 plus 3 is 12, and then double that is 24. Or you could say 9 plus 3 is 12, 12 plus 9 is 21, 21 plus 3 is 24. And we're going to say down here, the answer to the perimeter of the rectangle is 24 centimeters. Okay, now find the perimeter of this figure, which has the length of each side given to you. 3 of the sides are 3 inches, 2 of the sides are 2 inches. So we add all of them up to find the perimeter. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. There it is. 3 groups of 3 is equal to 9, plus 2 groups of 2 is equal to 4. So 9 plus 4 is 13. Okay. Now we have a rug here. We have one of the sides given to us, one of the short sides of the rectangle. It's 14 feet. This says the width of a rug, this is the width, the short side is width, the long side is length. Its length, the width of the rug is 14 feet. Its length is twice its width. Okay, so we will be able to figure this out without actually measuring anything. And we wouldn't measure because obviously this is much smaller than a regular rug would be, because this is much smaller than 14 feet. So we need to find the length by multiplying 14 feet, and it says its length is twice its width, which means 2 times the width. So 14 times 2. 14 times 2 is 28, and if you need to write that out, could be like this, 14. Since this is not one that we have as like a flashcard that we memorize, 14 times 2, you could write it out like this. Okay, and then 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. To find the perimeter now, so that was just finding the width, and I'm going to write it right here so that you remember 28 feet is the length. To find the perimeter now, we add up all of the sides. And since we know that this is 14 feet, we know that the side that is opposite of it, the parallel sides are the same length. This is also 14. Since this is 28, this is also 28 feet. So we'll write 14 plus 14 plus 28 plus 28. Okay, so you could stack your numbers here if you're unsure. So if you do that, you'd find 28 plus 28 is 56. I'll go ahead and, oops, it's messy. (28) plus 28. 8 plus 8 is 16. We regroup, put the 1 in the tens place. 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5, so 56. Plus we're going to add 2 groups of 14, which we already know is 28. So we'll add on that 28. 6 plus 8 is 14. 5 plus 2 plus 1 that we're regrouping is equal to 8. Okay, so our final answer here is, for the perimeter, 84 feet. Okay, so the perimeter of the rug is 84 feet. Okay, over here it says that there are 4 square tiles with 12 centimeter sides that were used to cover the surface of a large square tile. What is the perimeter of the large square tile? Now, so far, we don't know the length of any of the sides yet. Since it's a square, we do know that the sides are all equal to each other. But this side, we know that half of it is equal to 12, but we need to multiply to figure out what is the length of each of the sides of this square. So what we'll do is multiply 12 for that one tile times 2, because each side has 2 12-centimeter tiles. 12 times 2 we have as a memorized fact. It is 24. 24 centimeters is now the length of each side. That's what we know. So now to find the perimeter, we can add all 4 sides that are the same length. We know that squares have 4 sides of equal length. So we add up all of those together, or we multiply since they're equal groups. 24 times 4. Now 4 times 4 is 16. We regroup. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So we should have as our final answer, the perimeter, 96 centimeters. You would get the same answer by adding if you wanted to add instead. But I do recommend multiplying if you have equal groups because it's faster, and we do know how to multiply 2-digit by 1-digit factors. Now we have the width of a rectangular field that is 35 meters long. The short side is our width. The length is 3 times as long. 3 times as long as its width. Ian ran around the field once. How far did he run? If he ran around the field, that means he goes all the way around all sides, so we'll find the perimeter. Now we're going to multiply 35 times 3. Let me try that again. Okay, 35 times 3 to find the length of the long side of this rectangle or rectangular field. 5 times 3 is 15. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So the length should be 105. We'll write what our work was here. 35 times 3 equals 105 meters. That's our unit of measurement. Now to find the perimeter, 105 was just telling us the length of one side. Finding the perimeter means that we have to add 35 twice, because there's 2 of those short 35-meter sides. 35 plus 35, and then 2 sides are equal to 105 meters. So we're going to add that twice. Okay, so 35 plus 35 plus 105 plus 105. You can stack your numbers for this if you need to. Oops, that looks like I was multiplying, but we add for perimeter. You could have also multiplied 35 times 2 and found the answer. 5 plus 5 is 10. 3 plus 3 plus 1 is 7. So you should have 70 as the answer between these two. Now 105 plus 105, let's use a little mental math strategy for this one. Now 100 plus 100 is 200. 5 plus 5 is 10. So the answer to these is 210. So we had 70 and we had 210. So 10 plus 70 is 80. We'll use mental math for that as well. So the full answer for the perimeter is 280. But you could stack numbers for this as well. I'm trying to show a few different strategies because when it's time for you to work in your workbook, you choose whatever strategy works for you, whether it is mental math or whether you want to just stick to stacking your numbers. You could just write out 210 plus 70 and solve it that way. Okay, but our answer here is 280 meters. That is the perimeter of the field. We're going to skip over the hands-on activity and math journal. Although I do like this second question for the math journal. All of these are optional, but this one says, if your friend was absent from class, and in this case, maybe didn't watch the video and missed that lesson on perimeter, explain what it would be, explain how to find perimeter to that friend. If you've got younger siblings, you could do it this way too, where you explain to your younger sibling and maybe draw out a shape and talk about how you find perimeter. It helps sometimes to explain something to somebody else to have a really good understanding yourself. So this wouldn't have to be in writing, but I would recommend doing that if you've got younger siblings who you could do it with. Okay, finally, we will measure the sides of each figure and then add them up for our perimeter. You should do this with a ruler. I'm just going to give I'll give you the length of and width of each side here. Okay, so our longest side here, actually, you know what? After you're done with all of the, we'll just go over the answer in centimeters. Okay, so it should be 22 centimeters as your perimeter for this one. After adding up each of these sides, you should have a perimeter of 24 centimeters. Okay, and then these squares have the sides given to you, the length of each side. We know that squares have all equal sides, so we can always multiply one side by 4. 7 times 4 equals 28. So the perimeter of this square is 28 centimeters. 12 times 4 is 48. So the perimeter of this square is 48 centimeters. Okay, now it says each side of a square is 8 meters. Find the perimeter of a square. Can we do that? Yeah, if it's a square, we know all sides are equal. So 8 times 4 is 32. Now, what is our unit of measurement? Meters. So we need to put M for meters in our answer. The perimeter of each rectangle we'll find next. Okay, so for this rectangle, if we add 8 plus another 8 would be 16, plus 3 and 3 here are equal to 25. Feel free to write this out if you want to. Oops. Did I say 9? I'm sorry about that. It should be 6 because it's 2 sets of 3. I was multiplying. Sorry about that. So if we added 16